What's going on, guys? I'm Fuller. This is my 2010 F150 Raptor, and I wanted to give you guys a full rig walk around on this. Now, there's interesting stuff about this truck kind of all over the place. I'm not sure what'll be most interesting for you, but there's interior mods, there's exterior mods, performance stuff, and the whole bed of the truck is actually built out so that I can sleep back there, cook back there, and all that fun stuff. So let's jump into it. So I'm also testing out the GoPro 11 and the media mod with the new microphone on it, so we'll see how this all goes. But up front, to start off with, we do have a hidden winch mounted behind the factory bumper. That's from Rough Country. It's a 9,000 pound winch. If I was building this from scratch, I'd probably have a 12,000 pound winch in there, but I actually already have the 9,000 pound winch, and I also use Rough Country's hidden winch mount to put it in there. They say it doesn't actually fit the Raptor, but it does. There's just a gap on the side of it that you have on the Raptor that you wouldn't have on a normal F-150, but that doesn't bother me at all. I also have the Morimoto triple pod fog light kit, ambers on the far side and then spots in the middle. I do also have on order from Morimoto their new big bangers, which will go up on the A-pillars, so we'll put those on the truck as well. Coming around to the wheels and tires, these are Method MR305s. I had these on my F-150 Platinum as well, just in a different finish. Absolutely love the wheels. This is the machine finish, obviously, with the black ring around it. The tires are 35 by 12.5 Yokohama Geolandar MT G003. This is a pretty aggressive mud terrain. I really like how aggressive the sidewall is. There's tons of grip here when you air these things down. I've had these down as low as about 8 or 10 psi, and then you really have a huge footprint, and all this sidewall turns into really more traction for you too. So I just have factory suspension. These are brand new shocks I just put in here. The guys over at Classic Mechanics helped me out with that, and I have those set at mid-perch, so it rides a little bit taller in the front to fit those 35s with the 17 by 8.5 zero offset methods on there without having to run into any rubbing issues. Coming around towards the back of the truck, I fabricated these aluminum brackets to hold my traction boards. I'll do a separate video on those because every time I post anything about these boards, everybody wants to know how I did it. So these are also Morimoto taillights. They fit the Raptor and the F-150s. These are the red ones. They also have a smoked option. They have a kind of like a halo ring that you see on some of the newer trucks. I think they look really sharp on there. This up here is actually a fitting. Well, I don't know if you'd call it a fitting. I'm going to call it a fitting. But it attaches a hose for my diesel heater to pipe hot air into the back. And I'll show you that in a little bit. Nothing to see really on the opposite side. Nothing different here. You can kind of see on top there my solar panel. But that's really the only difference on this side of the truck. So let's dive into the cabin before I show you the bed of the truck. From the driver's seat here, there's nothing overly exciting about the interior here, but I do have a Midland radio. This is their, I believe it's a 40 watt unit. I think they've since replaced this with a 50 watt unit, but I love this thing. This is a GMRS radio. If you're going to be out on the trails, you need some sort of communication. Especially to other vehicles that you might be traveling with, or in some kind of emergency situation, you got to be able to get out and talk to people, and you might not have cell reception to do that. So kind of along those same lines, I do also have a Garmin InReach Mini 2. This thing has been awesome for sharing locations with family and friends so that they know that we're still moving and we're still fine. We didn't fall off a cliff somewhere and die. So that's that. Inside, nothing really special in the glove box, just your standard glove box things. I do also keep 2 extra Midland handheld radios, so if somebody needs to spot me up a trail or something like that, I can toss them a radio. Or if we're traveling with somebody who doesn't have a built-in radio, then I have something to give them too. Battery life is incredible on those, so you can usually go all day long on those things. The center console just contains like the remote cable for the winch, a couple miscellaneous tools and things like that. Nothing super exciting. In the back, I do have a Rough Country refrigerator / freezer. So depending on what you set it as, it can do both. My machete there, which you gotta have. I also have a full med kit from MyMedic. Really like this because you can actually purchase it with your HSA money if you have an HSA, so I think that's cool. That kit is a pretty large one. It's got everything you could ever need. I mean, tourniquets, quick clot, stuff for sutures, medications, anything that we run into, we should be able to fix with that. And if we can't fix it with that, then we're probably going to need a helicopter evac. So that kind of wraps up the inside, other than On the back behind the driver's seat, it's just where I typically keep my diesel heater. I don't like it bouncing around in the bed of the truck, simply because then wherever I'm sleeping might smell like diesel. This does have a vented cap, so what I do inside the truck is just use your favorite grocery store bag, unscrew the cap, put the bag down, and then screw the cap through the bag, and then it doesn't slosh around, it doesn't smell up here. But I don't want to take the risk of it back there, because if it tips over, I won't know about it, so I keep that up here. This space here, this huge empty space, depending on where I'm going or what I'm doing, either the dog is going to ride here, or I'm going to have totes here with my gear in it, or yeah, this is just a flex space that I can use anything for. I do have a small air compressor here, which reminds me, I guess I should go to the other side and show you that too. Small air compressor here. This is actually just a backup air compressor. Underneath the seats, I have emergency blankets and things like that. So let me go to the other side, show you what's over there. Over on the passenger side of the truck, like I said before, this is the Rough Country fridge freezer. This thing's been great, no problems with this. Hardly draws any power, run it off my solar system. I don't have it on right now, but it does have an LED light inside. Just obviously don't have it on because there's nothing in there, so I don't need to. I keep a torque wrench and a breaker bar over there for changing tires and wheels. I do have a full-size air compressor, which is also from Rough Country. In there, I keep a tire patch kit with plugs and patches. The Rough Country air compressor has been good for me. Did run into one issue with it overheating, but it's really just a fail-safe, so it's not necessarily a fault with the machine. It's just built in there. So it'll kick out if it gets too hot, which I think I had filled already 3 of these 35-inch tires from 10 PSI up to 40. So that's a lot of volume of air to push through there, but you just give it a minute and then you restart it and everything's fine. So that's that. And now I'll show you the back, which is probably the coolest part of the truck. So in here I've built out a slide out. Oh yeah, I also forget I have an easy drop tailgate. This is literally a $25 Fleet Farm piece you can put on here. I really missed that from my Platinum, so I kept slamming this down. But I built out this kind of drawer slide mechanism. So I have it set up obviously right now for one person, but I do have this rail so that I can put in another sheet which has fold out legs, and then it becomes full width and you can sleep 2 people back here. So the slide is built out of 3/4 inch plywood, 2-burner Coleman stove here, and then there's 3 separate storage sections where I keep, you know, cutting board, pots, pans, utensils, various spices, cleaning supplies. There's kind of some more emergency stuff the further back we go. Fire extinguisher, extra tarps, fire starters, funnel, things of that nature. So I'm not going to go show you every single thing I have back there, but it's built out pretty well. This also comes out, so I have this notched so that the stove slides out of the way. And then underneath we have more storage, which I usually have 3 of these propane bottles in here, and then the microfiber to wedge them in so they don't slide, but I need to pick some more of those up. But the whole thing just kind of picks up and then sets in there, and then it doesn't move around at all. On the opposite side of this, I kind of left this, I call it my dirty storage or wet storage. So I keep a kinetic rope in there. There's like a 50-foot tow strap, some soft shackles, things like that, jumper cables. Those all get shoved in there. So inside the truck here, this is a 5.5-foot bed, which works fine for me because I am 5.5 feet tall. So I can lay down in here perfectly fine, and I typically kind of squish up a little bit when I'm sleeping anyway. Can't sit up perfectly straight with the 4-inch memory foam mattress in here, but pretty close. It's definitely not uncomfortable by any means. And I could always just sit back, which is how I'm going to be spending my time in here if I'm in the back of the truck anyway. I also have a platform that I can set up that I can put my iPad on or laptop or whatever and watch a movie if that's really what I'm going to do. But typically when I'm out in nature, I don't like to do that kind of stuff. But it's an option if it's raining or something like that. So the platform, like I said, is made out of 3/4 inch plywood. The solar panel on top keeps my batteries charged. There's 200 amp hours, about 200 amp hours worth of batteries in the very front of this compartment. So the drawer slide doesn't actually go all the way up because the front is all battery bank. And then that goes out to the charge controller and the inverter. So if I need to plug in something with like a regular wall outlet, I can still do that as well. The charge controller goes directly to my switch panel, which has switches for like my interior lights, the 12-volt socket to plug like the diesel heater or any other 12-volt device in, USB ports, etc. So that's kind of the inside layout here. So that's the quick down and dirty version of what's all inside my truck. If you guys have questions on any of the products that I showed you, feel free to drop a comment down below. There's some other small things that I've done too, but kind of all depends on what your personal preferences are and how you outfit your truck. But as you use it more, you always find small modifications to make it suit your needs best. So like I said, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer you. Peace.